Om. Gods, with ears, let us hear what is good. Adorable ones, with eyes, let us see what is good. With steady limbs and bodies praising, let us enjoy the life allotted by the gods. May Indra of wide renown grant us well-being. May Pusan and all gods grant us well-being. May Taksha of unhampered movement grant us well-being. May Brihaspati grant us well-being. Peace, peace, peace. Now, in the sphere of science, the Lord Shada Shiva, assuming the guises of Prajapati, Vishnu, and Rudra, comes to be styled Goddess Tripura. By his primeval power are fashioned the three abodes, the earth, the atmosphere, and the heavens, or the heavens, the earth, and the netherworld, in the form of Rim, identical with the Maya of Hara, the divine Rileka permeates. With her terrible might, the terminus of the three peaks, above the junction of the two eyebrows, the seat of equilibrium of the three gunas, and the region where the world of objects is dissolved. This self, same divinity is called Tripura. On that adorable splendor of the divine creator we meditate. May he our thoughts inspire, who beyond all darkness is Om. Let us, for all-knowing fire, the Soma press, who of our foes the wealth consumes. As boat over river, so may he help us over all difficulties, all troubles. Let us adore with sacrifice the three-eyed God, fragrant increaser of earthly growth. Like cucumber fruit from its stalk released, let me from death find freedom unto immortality. The supreme sovereign, the goddess of the three cities, is the embodiment of the three Vedas, and supreme knowledge consisting of 108 letters. The first 4 divisions elucidate Brahman, the second pertains to Shakti or power, and the third to Shiva, the good. It is recorded that the worlds, the Vedas, the sciences, legends, codes, medical works, and astronomical treatises have all proceeded from the union of Shiva and Shakti. Now we shall elucidate the supreme mystery of it. The syllable Tat of the great mantra is the eternal Brahman, the supreme Lord, indefinable, impeccable, unconditioned, and unconstrained. He thinks, perceives, evolves, and desires the status of consciousness. Thus, that sole deity, essentially good, evolves as the visible world. In the ascetics, sacrifices, mystics, he desires, and what is desired is born. Being free from desires, in truth, and impeccable, he holds sway. He puts forth letters like A, Ka, Cha, Ta, Tha, Pa, Ya, and Sa. Hence is the Lord named Desire. So technically, the Lord as desire pervades Ka. Desire alone is the Tat. Thus is karma understood. Hence it is the sense of Tat. Whoso knows thus becomes the Lord. Savitur Vareneyam. The root supreme means to give birth to a living thing. Savitur gives birth to living things. Power gives birth. This primeval power is Tripura, the supreme sovereign Tripura, goddess, great with earrings adorned, in sphere of fire abiding. Whosoever masters this knowledge pervades everything. The power of the triangle, the serpent power, creates with the aid of the exalted letter E. So only the letter E is taken. Varenyam means the best, the adorable, the imperishable, worthy of obeisance. So Varenyam is understood as the letter E. E. Whoso knows this becomes the best. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. This we shall expound. Ta denotes bearing. By thought is the supreme Lord born. Bharga is the shining one that dwells in that center, the imperishable fourth letter, the immediate fourth, the all, the inmost of everything. The fourth letter, I, is in the middle of the words. Thus is the form of Bharga expounded, they say. So the letter I is understood as the equivalent of Bhargo Devasya the exposition of Mahi. The letter in which are present greatness, inertness, and hardness is Mahi. The letter La is the supreme abode. The letter La denotes the sphere, predominantly hard, comprising the seas, the mountains, the 7 islands, and the forests, and having a resplendent form. By Mahi, the goddess Earth is denoted. Tiyo Yona Prachodaya. May the Supreme Self, the primeval, transcendental Shada Shiva, inspire our thoughts, our luminous self, with the steadfast letter La towards the transcendental, undifferentiated real, which is beyond the sphere of desire for contemplation. Without verbal utterance, holding this in mind only, should one meditate. Para Rajase Sabadam. Finally, that which is other than the self becomes the supreme light, pure consciousness, the divinity dwelling in the heart, whose mark is consciousness, and which is Rim, whose abode is the heart. So the group of 5 letters, Bhagavakuta, which gives rise to the 5 elements and consists of 5 sections, is clarified. Who knows thus reaps the results. Now the next group that has become kamakala is called kamakuta by the wise. In the utterance of the 32 sacred syllables, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Tat is the Supreme Self, Sadashiva, the imperishable, the pure, the unconditioned. The syllable Ha, setting forth the identity with Shiva, has the form of Shiva. It is held to be unarticulated, though a syllable, thus remaining external. It, Ha, indicates the power. Along the line indicated earlier of Tat Savitu, the moon, whose seed syllable is Sa, must be placed next to the sun, whose seed syllable is Ha. The light of the sun fills the region between the basic circle and the sacred orifice of the crown. The syllable Sa is said to be unique, is the divine being whose essence is Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is the supreme God, so Brahman knowers say. Shakti is all that is born. Sun and moon united are Hamsa Brahman, attributeless. From Shiva, supreme, who creates, desires objects, wells of desire, Lord of desires, the choice light, is described as the letter Ka. Tat Savitur Varenam Bhargo Devaha. The imperishable milk that wipes out the effects of acts and their agents is worth imbibing. The imperishable milk is won through the union of the Supreme Self and the individual self. That is the clear third syllable Ha. It is indeed Sadashiva, the flawless, the shining divinity. The last syllable is thus expounded as the supreme abode. The denotes upholding. The upholding of inert matter is associated with Mahi, denoted by the syllable La. The sense of La, coming after Ha, denoting Shiva, is clearly Brahman. The last syllable is the Supreme Spirit, may it inspire our thoughts. Para Rajase Savadom. This group is abode of Kamakala. He who treads the 6 paths reaches the seat of Vishnu. Who so knows thus reaches that seat. Nothing besides this exists, says the Lord. After this, the third group, Shakti Kuta, attains accord with the Gayatri of 32 syllables. Tat Savitur Varenyam. From the self comes the sky. From the sky the air stirs forth. What comes into being, independence of it, is adorable. Befitting Savitur is the coming together of the individual self and the supreme self. The syllable denoting the individual self, Sa, clearly attains the form of the luminous power. Bhargo Devasya Ti. With these words is counted the syllable Ka, denoting Shiva, who contains all. With Mahi, La is in accord. With the desirable, lovely, visible remainder, the Yona, the desirable, lovely Rileka is in accord. Thus is Shaktikula elucidated. Whoso repeat thus the 15-syllable mantra of Tripura attains all desires. He attains all enjoyments. He conquers all worlds. He causes all words to bloom. He attains the status of Rudra, breaking through the abode of Vishnu, the wheel of Maya. He reaches the supreme Brahman. Having set forth the primeval Vidya, incantation, the Shakti group, Sakala Rim, and power and Shiva, denoted by Sa-Ka, must be contemplated in the first abode, the wakeful state. The Lopa Mudra, incantation, Ha-Sakala Rim, must be contemplated in the second abode, the dream state. In the third abode, or the collective sleep state, must be contemplated the previous incantation, the power, Rileka, without the nasal sound, Sakalari, the incantation on which Durvasas, the wrathful sage, meditated. The Bhagavava group of the previous incantation is described as pertaining to Manu, Chandra, and Kubera. After Madana, or Klim, comes the auspicious Bhagavava. Next is the Kamakala, Ka. Next is the Shakti group, Sa. This grouping, in this order, was adored by Manu and must be contemplated in the fourth abode, the Vishwa state. First, that which is styled Shiva and Shakti, namely Ha, then Bhagavava, again the Shiva and Shakti group, and the third Sa. This incantation, adored by Chandra, is to be contemplated in the fifth abode, the Taijasa state. The incantation of Shiva, added to that of Chandra, is the incantation of Kubera. It must be contemplated in the sixth abode, the Prajna state. Whoso knows this attains Kubera's wealth. Leaving out the fourth vowel, I, and placing the sun and the moon, represented by Ha and Sa, in the beginning of all groups, there results the Vidya incantation, promoting power over desires. It is named after Agastya, and must be meditated on in the seventh abode, the Viraj state. In the incantation of Agastya given above, set in twofold manner, Ha Ha, representing the incantations beginning with Kama and Madana, then Sa, the seed syllable of Shakti, and Ka, the beginning of Bhagavava. Of Sa and Ka, let the vowels be shortened into half syllables. This is the incantation of Nandi, to be contemplated in the eighth abode, the Sutraman state. The Bhagavava group, the incantation of Agastya, consisting of words and meanings styled Kamakala. Then all the power of Maya, the Shakti group. These integrated were adorned by the sun, and so this is called the incantation of Prabhakara. It must be meditated on in the mind abode, the state of the casual abode. Again, the incantation of Agastya. Then Bhagavava, the seed letter of Shakti, Rim, the seed letter of Kama, Klim, the seed letters of Shiva and Shakti, Ham, Sa. Again, the seed letter of Kama, Klim, the seed letter of the earth, Lam, that of Maya, Rim, the abode of Kamakala, the 6 syllables beginning with Ha. The seed letters of the moon and the sun, So, Ham. The seed letter of Kama, Klim, that of Shiva, Ham, that of Mahiman, Sa. The third, Hamsa, Soham, and Hamsa. Integrated, this incantation adored by Shangmukha must be meditated on in the 10th abode. Repeating the incantation of Agastya after that of Shanmukha, one gets the incantation of the Supreme Shiva who rules over the last region. It must be meditated on in the 11th abode in the spirit of Anujnatit. Repeating the incantation of Agastya with Bhagavava, the incantation of Kubera, the abode of Kamakala, and the southern group of Shakti, derived from the incantation of Lopamudra, one gets the incantation of Vishnu. It must be meditated on in the 12th abode in the spirit of pure Anujna. He who knows thus becomes Vishnu. The Lord Shadashiva said to all the gods, having listened to the incantation set forth by me and made it clear to yourself, I am Brahman, knows there is nothing other than Brahman, and reduce whatever appears besides to Brahman. Enthrone the supreme Vidya, the divinity in the heart, the divinity styled Kama, the primeval one whose form is the fourth, who transcends the fourth, who exceeds all, who occupies all seats consecrated with holy spells, who is surrounded on all sides by deities seated on the main and subordinate seats, who pervades all parts from prana, vital breath, to Naman, name, the deity who is replete with delight, who is in union with the Supreme Spirit, who is in the heart, whose gift is immortality, who is complete, and who is possessed of senses, who forever is uprisen, who comprises three groups, has three abodes, and is the supreme and most excellent Maya, who is the supreme power of Vishnu. Enthroned in the pericarp of the heart's lotus, the supreme sacred Lakshmi, the Maya ever uprisen, who controls the senses of her devotees, who overwhelms the god of love, who is armed with bow and arrow, who inspires eloquence, who abides in the center of the moon's spear, is adorned with the crescent and assumes the guise of the 17 Prajapatis. She is the Great One, eternally present. Her hands, holding a noose and a goad, are charming. She, the three-eyed one, shines like the rising sun. In the heart, meditate on the goddess Mahalakshmi, comprehending all glories and possessed of all auspicious marks. Her own nature is spirit. She is flawless. Her name is Trikuta. She has a smiling face, is beautiful, is great Maya, and is extremely fascinating. She is adorned with great earrings. She rests on the threefold seat and abides in the nameless sacred abode Sripita. She is the great Bhairavi, the power of spirit, the great Tripura. Meditate on her through the great yoga of meditation. Whoso knows her thus fulfills his life. This is the great Upanishad. Then, therefore, having uttered the verse, let us all knowing fire the Soma press, one achieves the realization of Tripura. The seer said, explain the form of extensive seed letters latent in the beginning, middle, and end of the glorificatory verse. Let us all for all knowing fire. The Lord said to them, utter the verse. Let us for all knowing fire the Soma press. Repeat backwards the last group of the avidya, sakalarim. Lengthen the first syllable of the first group as ka and that of the second group as ha. Together we get ka ha. Let us press the Soma. They say that this verse refers to the state in which cosmic ignorance vanishes. It is competent to extinguish all that has been imagined as other than Brahman. It is the most excellent and blissful. It is the great glory. The first group, called Bhagava, the same as all prosperity, causes the sublation of the world of objects. The sacred group, named after Kama, supports the world of objects. The third, named after Shakti, brings it into being. Thus, meditating on the three groups and purifying the mind and elucidating the incantation of Tripura, one utters the mantra, let us for all knowing fire the Soma press. Then there dawns the wisdom called the incantation of Mahavidyeshwari. Relying on the incantation of Tripurashwari, having uttered the word Jata Vedase, for all knowing fire, and associating the dot denoting the divine principle of Shiva with the vowels A of the pranava, one gets the serpent power that has become one with immortality and has endured the triangular form at the base of the spinal column. Thus of the chief principle of avidya, thus of the chief principle of adividya. The first group beginning with ka is Bhagbhava. The second beginning with ha is the kamakala. With the utterance of these syllables jata, the Supreme Self is clearly expressed. By the syllables jata, the Supreme Undifferentiated Self, Shiva, is denoted. From birth onwards, given to desires, one desires lordship. When desires are renounced, perfection of one's nature results. So the knower of Brahman declare. That very thing, the perfect spirit of Shiva, we declare, alright, as installed in the three laws, the seed letters of the earth, clarifying the letters of the mantras in this light in the significance of the three laws, which denotes existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Each in the midst of the three groups, the word Gotra must be understood. The principle of Shiva is said to have been installed in the Gotra. Thus, has it been elucidated? Then follows the kamakala, the second group beginning with ha. The rest may be elucidated as before with reference to varnam, competent. This incantation thus explains a styled Sarvarakshakari, the all-protecting one. Thus, having clarified this incantation of Tripureshi by means of the verse Jatavedase, there remains but the one supreme divinity, the light. Or this results from the incantation consisting of the three groups. Grant the boon of the fourth. Meditate on the fact that the three groups do not exist independent of Shiva. Fully identify the I sense with the nature of the Lord. Relate each of the three groups with the incantation style, the all-protecting one. Also, clarify the incantation of the Atmasana form. Repeat the verse Jatavedase and once more recall to mind the all-protecting incantation. Assign the form of Shiva and Shakti to the initial and final positions of the all-protecting incantation. Know that the syllable Sa in the verse Jatavedase has Shakti as its quintessence, and the word Soma represents the prowess, whose quintessence is Shiva. Whoso knows this becomes great. Thus elucidate this incantation which abides in Tripura and which is set forth in the circular seat. Repeat the verse Jatavedase and also the incantation of Tripurāshwari, which is ever ascendant and whose quintessence is Shiva and Shakti, as already set forth. Jatavedas symbolizes Shiva and Sa has the imperishable Shakti as its essence. Elucidate Tripura, the ever ascendant Mahalakshmi, resting on the seat of mantras, symbolized by Ha, Sa, denoting the sun and the moon, pervading the three groups and subsisting in between Shiva and the primeval power. Repeat the verse Jatavedase, Sunavama, Somam, and call to mind the previous incantation associated with the seat of the real self. With the words Veda, essentially the same as the sun, denoted by Ha, is indicated the universal power of the spirit, Chichakti, ever ascendant. Put over it the dot, denoting the Shiva principle. Elucidate the incantation of Tripura, garlanded, abiding in the seat of the adept. Repeat the verse Jatavedase, Sunavama, Somam, relying on the enchanting Tripura. Contemplate her in the syllables Ka, La. Elucidate the embodied incantation of Tripura, the sovereign over all incantations. Repeat Jatavedase, and relying on Tripura, the Lakshmi, one consumes fire. Elucidate the incantation of Tripura, the mother, the sovereign threefold light, knowing that she consumes with a mouth of fire. Thus with the words Sa, Ma, Parasada Ati Durgani Vishwa, she illuminates the supreme, she who is the inner self. Her incantation here having become an effect is utilized in the act of hailing. She is deemed competent in every way. Thus these 8 incantations, the very limbs of the divine Mahamaya, are elucidated. The gods verily said to the blessed Lord, tell us about the foremost of the wheels which promotes all desires, is adored of all, takes all forms, faces all quarters, and is the gateway to liberation, by adoring which the yogins cut through the knot of differences into the undifferenced bliss of supreme Brahman. To them, the blessed Lord said, we shall elucidate the concept of Sri Chakra. Make a triangle with 3 vertices. In it, take as a measure a line, lengthen it, and make a triangle further in front of it, parallel to the base of the first triangle, but overall, make another triangle. The first triangle is the wheel, the second is the intermediary region, and the third has, marking it, the 8 triangles. Then moving the line beyond the intermediary quarters on the extremities of the 8-spoked wheel, move the line for soliciting the sadhyas. Having the upper part marked with triangles, draw 4 lines going up from the closed regions. In due order, with the 2 measuring lines, the wheel comes to be marked with 10 triangles. In the same manner, again, the wheel with 10 spokes takes shape. The wheel with 14 spokes takes shape by joining the measuring line brought up to the parts of the 10 spokes. After having joined the 4 vertices of the central triangles with the triangles at the extremities of the 4 lines, then take shape, respectively, the wheels enveloped in the 8 lotuses, the 16 lotuses, and the 8 wheel with 4 gates. Thus has the wheel been elucidated by the process of construction. I enumerate in the reverse order the elements of the wheel consisting of the 9 selves. The first will enchants the 3 worlds, has the 8 powers such as the power to assume the atomic size, has the 8 mothers, has the decay beginning with the all-agitating force, is manifest, is occupied by Tripura, and is characterized by the mystic mark of the all-agitating force. The second wheel fulfills all expectations, is conjoined with the 16 attractive powers beginning with Sakama. It is well protected, occupied by the sovereign Tripura, and is characterized by the mystic mark of the all-scattering force. The third wheel agitates all and is adorned with the 8 flowers of Cupid. It is better secured, occupied by the beautiful Tripura, characterized by the mystic mark of the all-fascinating force. The fourth wheel grants excellence to all, has 14 forces like the all-agitating force, is associated with a tradition, is occupied by the dweller in the 3 cities, and is marked by the mystic mark of the all-subduing force. The 5th wheel, beyond the 4th, accomplishes all ends. Has the 10 forces, such as the power to yield all perfections. Has the fullness of the kaula, is occupied by Mahalakshmi, who is Tripura, and is marked by the mystic mark of the greatly exciting force. The 6th wheel protects all, has 10 traits such as omniscience, is devoid of interspaces, is occupied by the garlanded Tripura, and has the mark of the great goad. The 7th wheel cures all diseases, has 8 forces such as the force to subdue, has its mysteries, and bears the mystic mark of the Kechari. The 8th wheel grants all perfections, is characterized by 4 weapons, and the mysteries higher and lower. It is occupied by the mother Tripura, and has the mystic mark of the seed. The 9th master wheel is replete with all delight and is associated with the triads such as Kameshwari. It is exceedingly mysterious, occupied by the great Tripura, the beautiful, and has the mystic mark of the triangle. All the meters indeed have passed over as spokes into the wheel. This wheel is the Sri Chakra. In its hub, in the sphere of fire, are the sun and the moon. Worship the seat of the syllable Om there. There is the imperishable in the form of the point. Call to mind the supreme incantation, sky-like, and immanent in it. Bring Tita, the great Tripura, the beautiful. Petition her with the single verse, Goddess, in milk bathed with sandal paste, besmeared goddess, with bilva leaves worshipped. Durga, I seek refuge in thee. Adore her with the mantra of Maha Maya Lakshmi. Thus spoke the blessed Lord. With these mantras, adore the blessed goddess. Then she becomes pleased and manifests herself. So whoever worships with these mantras sees Brahman. He sees all things and achieves immortality. Whosoever knows thus, this is the great Upanishad. The gods said to the blessed Lord, we would fashion the mystic marks. The blessed Lord told them, seated in the lotus posture with the region of the knees touching the earth, make the mystic marks. He who knows the mystic mark of the triangle attracts all. He knows all, enjoys all fruits. He breaks up all and immobilizes the foe, keeping the middle fingers over the ring finger. He brings together the little finger and the thumb, the 4th finger being left free like rods pointing downward. Thus is the first mark made, the triangle. The same with the middle fingers joined is the 2nd seed. The 3rd has the shape of the goad. Rubbing the palms in the reverse order, bringing together the thumbs and the 4 fingers, the 4th is formed, the great goad. The 5th, the great deluder, is made when the thumbs are joined to the nails of the middle fingers. After rubbing with the 4 fingers on the little fingers and the ring fingers held straight with the middle fingers. The same shape at the tip like a goad is the 6th, the all-subduing. Keeping the left hand in the right resting posture, the ring fingers in the middle of the little fingers, and the middle fingers with the 4 fingers crossed over them, the thumb straight, one gets the 7th, the Kechari, the all-attracting. In the all-upright, all-retracing posture, keeping little finger in the space between its middle finger and the ring finger, and at the sides, the 4 fingers in the shape of the goad, and the thumbs and the palms in contact, the 8th is formed, the all-scattering. The ring fingers rest on the back of the middle fingers. The thumb holding the middle fingers, on which rest the 4 fingers, remain in the middle. Thus is the 9th form, the all-agitating. Keeping the little fingers equally in the thumbs, 2 equally in the mystic mark comes to have 3 sections. The 5 arrows, the mystic mark, such as the 5, are clear. Krom is the seed of the goad. Ha, Sa are those of Shiva and Shakti. Ka of killing, Prem of enchantment. Ha, Sa, Ka, Prem of Kechari. Ha of the sun, Strom of desire. Ka, the first seed of Pagbhava, is the 9th. Ha, the first seed of Kamakuta, is the 10th. Whoso knows thus becomes an adept in mantra. Now, therefore, we shall expound the wheel that has become the kamakala. Hrim, Klim, Aim, Bloom, Straum. These 5 desires pervade the whole wheel. Wrap up the middle desire, I'm. In the past desire, strom, I'm, strom, I'm. Let this group be put within bloom. Bind up twice the end sought with the two medial Ims and worship setting them in the birch bark. Whoso knows this, wheel knows all. He attracts all the worlds. He immobilizes everything. The wheel dyed in indigo slays foes, arrests all movements. Smearing it with lac, one controls all worlds. Uttering the formula 9 lakhs of times, one attains the status of Rudra. Wrapping up the wheel in the inscribed diagram, one becomes victorious. Offering oblation in the fire built in a triangular fireplace, one wins over women. Doing so in a fireplace shaped like a rod or a circle, one acquires unrivaled wealth. Doing so in a square fireplace, one gets rain. If one offers oblations in a triangular fireplace, foes are killed. Movements are immobilized. Offering flowers, one becomes victorious. Offering substances having great taste, one becomes surcharged with supreme joy. The great taste are the 6 tastes. We invoke you, leader of hosts, of poets, poet most renowned, doyen of kings, among Brahmins, lord of Brahmans. Pay heed to us. Come with protection to our homes. Uttering this hymn, touch the body, pronouncing Ga with the dot above. Bow down to Ganesha, saying Gum to Ganesha. Om. Bow on to the blessed Lord with ash-smeared limbs of formidable prowess. Kill, kill, burn, burn. Consume, consume, subdue, subdue. Erase, erase, breaker of the plough. At the foot of the trident, secure the accomplishment of the symbol. Dry up, the eastern seal, immobilize, immobilize. You who disrupt the councils, the machines, the strategy, the messengers, the armies of the enemy. Tear up, cut up, rim, pat, swaha. With this, worship the Lord of the field. O maid of noble lineage, we know we contemplate a crore of mantras, so many kulas force inspire us ever. Thus adoring the maiden, whichever aspirant meditates attains immortality. He attains renown and the full stretch of life. For knowing the supreme Brahman, he abides. Whosoever knows thus wins the fruit. This is the great Upanishad. The gods verily said to the blessed Lord, Lord, the heart of the most excellent Gayatri pertaining to Tripura has been expounded to us. In the hymn of Atharvavedas, Tripura's 8 Vidyas are limned. Thus adoring her from the bonds of life, the yogin is released. Now tell us about Mrityunjaya, the victory over death. Hearing the words of all the gods speaking thus, the victory over death is revealed through the hymn on Trayambaka in the Anushtuva meter. Whence is the word Trayambaka derived? Being master of the 3 cities, he is Trayambaka. Why say, let us sacrifice? Sacrifice means worship. Extol the real by the 2 syllables Mahe. By the immutable single letter Kam, after Trayambaka, victory over death is expressed. So it is said, let us sacrifice. Now why say fragrant? He attains renown on all sides, hence it is said fragrant. Why say increases growth? He creates all the worlds, saves all the worlds, pervades all the worlds, hence he is said to increase growth. Why say like cucumber fruit, let me find freedom? As the cucumber is fast held by the stalk, so is man bound fast, and he is released from death, the bondage of transmigration. He becomes free. Why say on to immortality? One achieves immortality, achieves the imperishable, one becomes Rudra. The gods verily said to the blessed Lord, everything has been expounded to us. Now, tell us all those mantras pertaining to Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Ganesha, by lauding with which Bhagavati will reveal herself. The blessed Lord said, with Trayambaka in sloka meter, worship the conqueror of death. It is laid down that the single letter is pervaded as shown afore. One who worships with the mantra of the yajas, Om, obeisance to Shiva, attains the status of Rudra and achieves blessedness. He who knows thus does so. The great supreme abode of Vishnu, like an eye across the heavens, the wise always behold. Vishnu faces all quarters. As oil surrounds and fills a ball of sesame, he pervades all things. His supreme abode is the high sky. The wise, namely gods like Brahma, behold it, hold it forever in the heart. Hence, Vishnu's own form is derived from his abiding, existing in all beings. He is Vasudeva, the God who dwells in all. Om Namaha consists of 3 syllables. Bhagavate has 4 syllables. Vasudevaya has 5 syllables. This is the 12-syllabled mantra of Vasudeva. He who knows thus surmounts all hardship, lives a full life, achieves mastery over beings, and enjoys possession of wealth and cattle. The letters A, U, and meditation constituting the pranava denote the inward bliss, the all-pervading Brahman. Putting them together, there is formed Om. Swan sailing in the pure sky, dweller in the atmosphere, sacrificer near the altar, guest walking into the house. Dweller in men, in noble things, in the right and in sky, in water born, born in the light, in the right, in mounts, the right, the great, he is the Lord. All fruits he wins, who repeats the previous mantra of the sun together with the powers, namely the dawn, the dusk, the intellect, which are the true ordered embodied light. By each of the other luminous words in the mantra of the Surya is it upheld. Words like in waterborn denote the powers. He dwells in the high abode, the heavens pertaining to the sun. Worshipping the Lord of Hosts with the mantra given previously, we invoke you, leader of hosts. In the Tristuba meter, together with the monosyllable, one achieves the status of Ganesha. Next, have been laid down the Gayatri, the Savitri, the unuttered mantra, Ajapa, that of Saraswati, the Matrika, or alphabet. By it, all this has been pervaded. I am the goddess of speech. We know Klim, the goddess of desire. We meditate Sau, may the power inspire us. Thus, in the morn, Gayatri; at midday, Savitri; and at dusk, Saraswati. The Ajapa, Hamsa, the unuttered, is chanted without break. The Matrika, comprising 50 letters from A to Cha, pervades all words, all Shastras, all Vedas. The goddess pervades all things. Obeisance unto her. The blessed Lord said to them, whoso perpetually lauds the goddess with these mantras beholds all things. He attains immortality. Whoso knows this is the Upanishad. The gods verily said to the blessed Lord, clearly has been explained to us the section on activities and what pertains to Tripura with all related topics. Next, tell us about the attributeless supreme. The blessed Lord spoke to them by means of the fourth and the final Maya, Avidya, Jnana, Vijnana, and Samyagnana. Has the supreme Brahman been indicated, the supreme person, the supreme self, whose essence is consciousness? The hearer, the thinker, the seer, the teacher, the toucher, the proclaimer, the cognizer, the supreme knower, the innermost person in all persons, that self must be cognized. In that, there are neither worlds seen nor unseen, no gods or demons, beast or non-beast, ascetics or non-ascetics, outcast or non-outcast, Brahmins or no Brahmins. Alone and single, the supreme Brahman, all quiet, shines forth. Gods, seers, manifest, prevail not there. The awakened knower, the all-knower is Brahman. In this context, there are the following verses. Hence, the seeker after liberation must from object his mind withdraw. For liberation is indeed mind's detachment from objects. 2 kinds of minds they are, pure and impure. Impure the mind, desire-ridden, pure of desires freed. Mind alone is cause of man's bondage and release. Bondage is clinging to objects. The mind withdrawn therefrom promotes release. Shorn of attachment to objects and restricted to the heart, mind thus ceases to be mind. Such is the state supreme. Control the mind until it quiescence reaches in the heart. This is knowledge and meditation. The rest is not but words. Brahman is not thinkable alone, nor unthinkable think not. Yet only think thus surely becomes Brahman, the same to all. Yogins dissolves himself with self, in being through meditation high. Meditation on non-self is deemed no meditation at all. That Brahman has no parts, is beyond concepts, without blemish, knowing I am that, by slow degrees, one Brahman does become. Knowing it as beyond concepts, endless without cause or parallel, immeasurable and beginningless, the wise of wisdom is released. There is no restriction, no origin, none in bondage, none who strives, none seeks liberation, none liberated. This is truth. In wakeful state, in dreams, in sleep, know that the self is only one. For one who passes beyond these states, rebirth there is none. One real self alone exists in diverse beings as one, or many as it seemed like moon in water's sheen. As when a pot is moved, the sky, pot-bound, moves not. So is the living self unmoved, like sky when only pot has moved. When repeated in different forms, like pot from pot distinct, he knows not in these divisions and yet at all times knows. As long as illusions of words encompass one, difference lasts. When darkness is scattered, it is unity one sees. The lower Brahman is the worlds of words. The eternal, when that wears off, remains its knower shall, for peace of mind, on the eternal meditate. Two Brahmans are to be pondered on, the Word and Brahman Supreme. In the Word, well versed, one attains Brahman Supreme. The acute mind, after study of texts, on knowledge and wisdom intent, must forsake all as one seeks grain, forsakes the husk perforce. Milk has but a single color, though drawn from diverse cows. As milk is knowledge known, its sources are like cows. Focusing the eye of knowledge, invoke the thought, I am Brahman, the great supreme abode without parts or movements, the quiescent one. Whoso knows thus the one supreme form of Brahman, the fourth, abiding in all beings, dwells in the imperishable supreme abode. I seek refuge for the sake of life in this fourth power of knowledge, the cause of the manifestation of Brahman. In the order of Akasha, Akasha is the supreme source of all these elements. All these beings, verily, are born of Akasha, and they merge in Akasha. Because of it, they live once they are born. So now, Akasha to be the seed. That very thing knows as the seed of Akasha, of air, of fire, of water, of precious stones, precious stones. Whoso knows this attains immortality. Therefore, whoever knows this fourth wisdom or vidya pertaining to the glory of Kamaraja, the self in liberation, with its 11-fold form as the imperishable Brahman, attains the fourth state. Whosoever knows this is the great Upanishad. Gods, with ears let us hear what is good. Adorable ones, with eyes let us see what is good. With steady limbs and bodies praising, let us enjoy the life allotted by the gods. May Indra of wide renown grant us well-being. May Pusan and all gods grant us well-being. May Taksha of unhampered movement grant us well-being. May Brihaspati grant us well-being. Peace, peace, peace. Here ends the Tripuratapini Upanishad included in the Atharvaveda.